he is.
Ken's open to be here. I'm absolutely not open.
I'm not open to
Why
it.
he's sitting right here. He's ready to go.
The most I'll go is. No.
Is it recording? Can you tell? I've hit the record button, but it hasn't done anything differently. It is? Okay. All right, so I'd like to bring the Planning Commission meeting for January 11th, 2024 to order. And I'd like to first do the Pledge of Allegiance. I've asked Commissioner Reed Ryan to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for that. And I'd like to do next the roll call. Looks like for the commissioners, we have everybody here. All right. Sorry. What do I do with my pen? Okay. All right, so it looks like all the commissioners here, and we do have a quorum. All right, and then next, I'd like to go ahead and start the election for the vacancy. Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry about that. So I'd like to do the oath of office then for the new commissioners. We've got Commissioner Virginia Ray Mann and Jack K. Mangum. Who will be doing the oath of office? Okay. And you want to do it one at a time, or can you do both at a time? One at a time. Okay, so we'll just go with who's listed here first. Virginia, if you would, right up in front there.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah. And that I will discharge the duties of my office.
Okay, and then next, Jack.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend
No, I'm not in. I've only got a couple years anyway.
the Constitution of the State of Utah,
Less than 2 years left.
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
Less than 2 years. I've been doing this for 9 years. Okay, well, welcome, new commissioners. It's terrific. It's amazing because we've had the same faces up here for a long time. We had some stability, and then all of a sudden, lost two last meeting, and then two new faces. So I'm glad we got new faces, fresh, fresh blood. That's always good, but it's kind of, for those of us who've been here for a little while, it's just a little bit jarring. And then also, I forgot that I was supposed to be doing this today, so that's why I'm a little bit flustered, and I just want to get to the election right away. Okay. So I think we are now at the proper election for vacancy of the Planning Commission chair. So I am open to entertaining nominations for the Planning Commission chair. This is for the for the chair.
Nominate yourself or.
Oh, let me.
Get more, one nomination, then we'll do a close vote.
Thank you. So I'd like to recommend or nominate Reed Ryan.
I'll second that. Let's vote.
No. So we've opened the floor for nominations, so there can be more than one.
Nope, not me.
Okay. So just for the new folks, this is Reed Ryan right here.
He's over there.
Are there any other nominations?
Yeah, I would actually like to nominate Commissioner Kilgore. He's our most senior.
So I've only got, I think I have less than 2 years left, or just a little over a year left, I think, in this position. I've been doing this for over 9 years, or close to 9 years. So I don't know. I don't feel comfortable being the chair, especially if you have to change. You've got some time with us here.
A year
And,
sounds
I
good
think
to
you
me.
have the-
Ride that
And
ship.
I think Reed has also the demeanor, just for those of you who don't know him, he's got the demeanor.
Yep.
I tend to like surround myself with food and stuff, and so I don't want to be caught eating while I'm supposed to be doing something important. I'm very happy being the vice, though, so we could talk about that maybe a little later. But I think right now, so far, I see only one person as nomination. I don't think anyone, unless anyone wants to second, but not. I'm not really that interested, just so you know. Anybody else for nomination? Okay, then I think let's take a vote. I don't think I have to ask for any questions on the on the motion. So, all right. So, all those in favor of Commissioner Reed Ryan being the chair for the Planning Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so you're the
Can I
leader.
oppose?
I am, but you're still. All right.
Yep.
Okay, and then let's, so do I have to write anything? You've got that. You guys got that. All right, and then let's go ahead. It's all right. And then let's open the nomination up for vice chair. Let me open everybody up here.
I'll go ahead and nominate Commissioner Kilgore for vice chair.
I'll second that.
All right, and then any other nominations? Doesn't have to be me.
Oh, sorry, you just stayed vice chair, because your position didn't change.
Oh, okay.
You just stayed vice chair, so we don't need to do that.
All right, all right.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I was messing with the mics and, anyway.
Okay, I didn't know if,
So you just, because if you had become chair, then we would need a new vice chair, but because
I didn't.
that didn't happen, then you just stay vice chair, and then when your term is up, then we'll get a new vice chair.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it was just the timing, but last time it seemed like we did it at the same time, but maybe it was just because for that reason. But
That's what Sneaky had told me. Okay, okay.
that's good. Okay.
It might have been timing, I don't know.
Yeah, last time we did it together, so, yeah. Okay, then I'm done. I'm happy to pass the chair over to Commissioner Ryan.
I thought you could just take it all night. You're just doing a good job. All right. Thank you, Vice Chair Kilgore. We're going to move on to item number 5, public input. Time has been set aside for folks to express ideas, concerns, or comments. We do have those items on the agenda as well. So is there anyone here from the public that would like to make comment? Please, sir. And as you come to the podium, if you don't mind stating your name and your address, that would be appreciated. Thank you. And if you'd like to, sir, you could sit or stand, whatever is easier for you.
My name is Jeff Tittlefitz. My residence is 98 East Country Road. My name is Jeff.
Get out of that.
Sorry, like we had a weird screen come up. Let's see. There you go. See if that works now for you, sir.
My name is Jeff Tittlefitz.
That's podium, right? All right, here we go.
My name is Jeff Tittlefitz. My last name is spelled Tittelfitz. My residence is 98 East Cottage Cove. So I live right off of Fairway and Redwood, and my home backs up to the Talon Coves Golf Course on the 11th and 12th hole, so that kind of gives you a perspective. My wife Cindy and I moved here in 2013, and part of that plan was to, at that time I was semi-retired and I'm now 1 year from full retirement. And one of the things we enjoy about the community and love when we bought our home is we have of course, we're on the golf course, which is nice. We also have a beautiful view of the lake. And when we first moved here, the noise levels in our neighborhood were very quiet. It was very peaceful. And of course, that's when Redwood Road was only 2 lanes. And then after that changed, we noticed an increase in noise. One of the things that I enjoy and kind of my pastime now is watching the grass grow, throwing a tennis ball to my dog who has boundless energy, and of course dodging golf balls from time to time. And but what I've noticed, I like to listen to the birds and all the wildlife and stuff that is there on the golf course, but I've noticed the noise levels to a point where I used to not notice it, and now it's almost just kind of blocks out all of the nice things that I always enjoyed. And I'm not an engineer, but I think possibly 2 of the reasons is the elevation of Redwood Road at that section, that area, and 2, the increased traffic of trucks, specifically from the cement trucks and other trucks that come north on Redwood Road. And so I would respectfully request that this is something that merits further study. Again, I'm not an engineer. My background, I'm an industrial psychologist. I worked in workers' comp and did a lot of studies of how work is performed, and noise levels was one of the things that I examined, and it has an impact on our health. It has an impact on, as I said, the things that I think we can enjoy in this community. So again, I appreciate the time, and that's what I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Tittlefitz. We appreciate your comments this evening. I hate to admit this, but it's probably a few of my golf balls that you've had to dodge over the years, so apologies to that. I always do try to go over, though, if one heads your way. I think I know exactly where your house is at. And I actually live across the street on Redwood Road and overlook the 11th green from the other side, so we're somewhat neighbors. And experiencing all the same things that you've experienced in terms of the growth of our city and certainly the traffic levels on Redwood Road. So I believe staff has made note of the comment as well, and then we can investigate for you there. So thank you for coming in tonight and taking time out of your busy day to be able to do that for us. We appreciate it. Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment then and move on to the items under the public hearings. Our first item tonight is the community plan major amendment for the crossing, the Fat Cat Cell Tower located at 212 West Pioneer Crossing. Troy Benson is the applicant, and invite the applicant to come up as well. And then I don't have any notes as far as who's presenting what this evening. Sorry for Sarah and others. So apologies that I don't know who will be presenting, but it looks like we have our presenter.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you. So I am Sam Stout, and I will be presenting this. Let's see. Do I need to do anything to this? This is Sam. Awesome. Okay, so this is for the amendment to the community plan for the crossing community plan, and this is going to be in the same parcel that is where Fat Cat's located. So it's going to be the cell tower is proposed to be just south of where the Fat Cats is. So for the community plan amendment, so the site plan hasn't been approved yet, but this is to allow the cell tower to be built. So right now in the community plan, there cannot be a structure more than 50 feet high. The cell tower has permission to be 60 feet. It's 60 feet. It has a lightning rod that is 6 feet high, so it's going to be 66 in total. I reached out to Boyer Construction over the crossing to make sure that they are okay with it being 66 feet total. Haven't heard back yet, but I will. We don't feel like this will be an issue, but if it does, we can make those changes to make it sure it's 60 feet. But this is just to allow the cell tower in. We have permission from both Boyer and SLR to have this cell tower in the proposed location. So this is just to add it to the community plan.
Okay, that's it then?
Yep, that's it.
Awesome. Is the applicant here this evening? Just come forward.
So Troy is not here, but his associate.
Awesome. If you don't mind, just, yeah,
Sorry, is it Dan?
stating your name and, who you are and address, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Thurgood, 136 South Main Street, Salt Lake City, Utah. I am here in place of Troy. He couldn't make it tonight. I am familiar with the project. I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission might have.
Awesome. Would you like to add anything to the presentation tonight?
No, this one's pretty straightforward. We're not here trying to change code, do anything outside of what code allows. We're just trying to get the 60-foot tower within the community plan.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you coming here tonight as well. I'll open it up to the commission for comments or questions. Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Sam, for the presentation. It was very complete. I was very, I like the design. It looks to me like it's going to fit very well in that space. Now, do you represent the cell company? And so a couple of things that I'd like to ask. Number one, you know, everybody touts the 5G, but in reality, we don't have 5G. We have locations close enough that are, maybe 50 yards. You've got to have a terminal for that to happen. Will this have 5G for those in close proximity?
It will, yes. So
Okay.
this site is proposed to have the latest technology.
Okay. And I'm guessing as we push towards 5G, we're going to see so many more requests to have those boxes placed so that we can have 5G. I just like to see a location that looks good as compared to have a small refrigerator on the side of a pole that's going to do that. So my first piece is that's a good location, it's a good design, and then the last thing is that it's in very close proximity to where the city's looking for the new downtown. We're going to have a lot of opportunity, but in the interim, we need to have good communication in that arena. And I think I picked that up in my reading from Sam, that there is a need. The city tends to say, you know, it's for the public use, it's not private use, it's public use. And so the big question was the 5G. The other thing is I'll just roll that I'm in favor of the proposal as it was brought to us with the findings that Sam had.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. All right, my board just lit up, so here we go. I think Commissioner Sprosty Burns, you were next. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I've got some questions about the tower and the lightning rod. So when I'm looking at the planning packet here, the lightning rod on it looks like it's fairly small in diameter. Is that correct? Okay. And then number 8 on the keyed notes, it says future 8-foot tall antennas, 4 per sector. So is that 8 foot from the top or 8 foot from where that number 8 starts?
I believe it's going to be, so from the pole, it's 8 feet in total, so 4 feet on one side, 4 feet on the other. So it'll extend out to 8 feet in total.
I'm sorry, I'm a little lost. Can we go back or to the next slide that's got,
You have the other elevation slide in the packet.
I do not have that in located in this.
I can talk off of that one.
Yeah.
That's okay. So, yes, so 8-foot antennas right now are about the tallest antennas that the wireless industry uses. So we have here shown 4 8-foot antennas. And to answer your question about the number 8, that would be considered what we call the center line. So it would be 4 feet above where that arrow points and 4 feet below.
okay. So it won't,
It will not stick, it will not go below the covered portion of the antenna. They will be screened. Now, if
Okay.
you're standing at the base of the wall there and you look up,
you'll see it.
you'll see it. But from the street, from far away, you're going to see the, the structure and the stealth design. You will not see the antennas.
Okay. And so then that 4 feet that it goes up, that stays within the covered section?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. Now I get it. Thank you. That clarified. Thank you. So then my next question with this is just watching what's going on with Cody, Wyoming and all of their steeples and rods and towers and whatnot. I just want to make sure that we're being really careful in just assessing these things. I also know that we have a cell tower that's going in at Lake Mountain that we approved not too long ago, right? So I don't know anything about cell phone service and how many towers we need, but I remember in that meeting that it seemed like that tower going in would fix a lot of the problems out here. Like realistically, how many towers are we going to be looking at putting in out here? And do we need them all? I don't know the answers to those questions.
I don't know the answers. I obviously can't tell you the answers to those questions. I do know that the higher up in elevation they are, the more service area they serve. This one is, the one in Fox Hollow was up on the hillside, so that will serve a larger area. And then this one's in a flatter area and is shorter, so won't serve as large of an area. But I couldn't tell you the answer to how many we're going to need.
Okay. I think that's it for me. I think I just want to state that I'm not in favor of just adding things and adding things and adding things. I think we need to be really conscious of that skyline and what our code already has. So that's my stance at this point. But thank you for bringing this in front of us and answering those questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Spotsy Burns. Appreciate your comments and questions this evening. I don't know if you have any insight to her question in terms of what coverage looks like. I mean, you're the one that deals in the industry. If you have any insight that you might be able to share.
Yeah, so coverage definitely depends on the height and as far as how far out the tower can reach. But more importantly now is the number of users that a tower serves. So back in the 90s, early 2000s, you put a tower up on a mountain, people had cell phones, but not nearly what there is today. So one tower could serve an entire community. Where now, if you've got a commercial center, a shopping center, you have so many people packed in a very small area, and a tower can only serve a certain number of people. And so if you have really heavy or heavily populated areas that are spread out and then only one tower, say on the side of it, not in the center, but off to the side, you now only have one sector, or in this picture, you can see the 4 antennas. you only have 4 antennas serving thousands and thousands of people. And so the way that technology is changing now is we need to get the cell network where the people are. And so we do that by doing these larger sites, and then we also do that with small cells. And the small cells are what you're starting to see pop up on street lights. They're just the little tiny antennas. And those will serve an intersection. And so we would have to put thousands of those up to serve a community. And so these sites here can serve a lot more people and with better speeds, more reliable. And so these types of sites are still going to be needed as the city grows. You're going to need additional sites. As it gets more populated, then we start showing up with small cells to try to offload these sites. So because this area is developing, it's a commercial area, it's still building out, we're trying to get ahead of it. And if a site like this doesn't go in, then the existing site that may be a mile down the road is going to stop working for those people that are around that site. And so then you're going to have other issues. So we try to stay ahead of that. To shorten my answer, though, towers now are designed to serve an area of about 1/4 mile to 3 miles. And then as the population and density increases, we have to have more sites. And so they're not necessarily going away, so we're doing our best to try to get them to fit in the best we can.
Thanks for the follow-up. We'll give you, Commissioner Sposter Burns, a chance to follow up real quickly here.
So what I'm hearing then is that we're going to need every 3 miles towers that are 66 feet high.
With the current technology and 5G, that's what it's looking like.
Because that will be a more effective and cheaper option for whoever's installing the tower instead of putting them on the light boxes where it is more expensive, but it doesn't take up the height and go past that city limit that's already there.
So it's actually not more expensive to do the small sites. They're just smaller antennas, and the equipment that's on the ground can't handle as many users. There's not enough power in the antenna to reach far enough out. And so small cells are great. They serve a really good purpose, but they don't have the power to reach out for miles. They only have the power to cover an intersection. So we would have to have one, and so the other part of it too is that each carrier has to have their own set of antennas. So every street light, if you have 3 or 4 carriers, you're now going to have 4 sets of antennas on that street light. Every single street light, every 50 to 100 yards. So we are doing that downtown Salt Lake. You'll see them in downtown Salt Lake quite a bit now. And so those won't replace these just because of the number of antennas, the power, the output. These cover a very large area and a lot of people. This macro site, that's the term for this one. And so it's not that we don't want to do small cells, it's that we still have to do macro sites to serve a community.
I'm 100% not going to pretend like I understand all of the technical behind all of it, because I don't. And I really do appreciate you bringing this in. I think I immediately just get my hairs raised when it's like, okay, well, this is the size, and then we're going to also add on this other tower or, other rod that's 6 more feet, and then this that's 6 more feet. And just watching Cody, Wyoming again, I'm just hesitant to, if the proposal's coming in and you're saying we have this 60-foot tower, just tell us it's a 66-foot tower. Give us that solid number. That's like a personal rant, so I'll stop, but thank you. I appreciate everyone letting me rant.
Thanks, Commissioner Sposter Burns. We'll go to Commissioner Kilgore next, and then Commissioner Mangum. Thanks for being patient.
In the packet summary, it said that this is a administrative action, but this is legislative, right? Since it's an amendment? Yes, it is. Okay, so I will cross out my usual question. Okay, and then I was wondering where the 50-foot height restriction came from the city. Why did we say 50 feet? Because if it was already 60 feet, then we wouldn't have any issues if, but I know there has to be some height, some restriction somewhere.
So we're in a planned community zone, and in a planned community zone, they have to do a community plan. And it's actually, thank you. So, so it's actually the community plan that limits the height to 50 feet. Under our standard code, they go much higher. So if they were in a regional commercial zone, depending on a few circumstances in the code, they could go much higher. This is an amendment to the community plan. But again, if they went, over by Walmart, regional commercial zone, they could go higher than that.
Okay, so it's purely because it's in the community.
Right, because it's amending a specification in the community plan.
Okay, all right. Okay, well then that's not so bad. Not that I had any issues with the 60 feet, it's just that I don't want to have to deal with amendments all the time, Yeah, but it just sounds like it's just because the community plan is that way, which means it's not that way for the rest of the city.
Well, and they've actually, sorry. I'm blinking. Okay, thanks. So they, in our regional commercial zone, it could go up to 100 feet. They initially were proposing 80 feet, but the landowner of the crossing where this is going said no, and they are allowing what's proposed here, which is the 66 feet.
Okay. And so when you said earlier that the applicant already has permission for the 60 feet, that's what you were referring to as the landowner?
Yes.
Not the city?
Yes, so the landowner. So yeah, so I'm just I'm just verifying with them to make sure that they're good with the 60 feet plus the 6 feet for the lightning rod. So I'm still verifying. So I will notify everyone that needs to be notified if there are any, if they have any questions or concerns where construction does. But yeah.
Okay. And then that means for the request then, for the amendment request, it shouldn't be 60 feet, it should be 66 feet, right?
Yes.
So the way that our Title 19 is written, it would be 66 feet.
Okay, all right. And then, like that picture, so I saw that in the staff packet, the wall on the left of the picture, it says it's 6 feet. And then in the picture, it looks like the actual wall that encircles the antenna looks shorter. And I don't know if that's just the perspective, or is it shorter than 6 feet?
It is proposed to be 6 feet.
Yes.
Around the base. So I think it's the graphic image that's making it
Okay.
different.
Because the other picture also looked like the inner wall was smaller. But if it's all 6 feet, then that should be fine then.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is all proposed to be 6 feet.
Yes.
Okay. And then the last time we did the cell tower, a cell tower application, there was a lot of discussion of, maybe that was the intent, maybe there was something else. There's a lot of discussion about the paint colors and stuff like that, but
Yes.
we did have that, right?
Yeah, that was Deer Canyon, yes. So in the code, it specifies for camouflage, depending on the surroundings of the area. So in that case, the only thing that was really around there were poles, power poles. And so it was a color to kind of match. And then in this sense, we worked with the DRC, our Development Review Committee, as well as with the applicant to see what the best design is. And that's when we decided, we thought that this would be the best design for that area.
Okay, all right. So we don't have to worry about all that this time. We don't. The Planning Commission. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Kilgore. We appreciate your questions and comments. Commissioner Mangum, thank you for waiting patiently.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. With my, you'll have to forgive me, I'm brand new, so these may be some silly questions, but when I saw this, I instantly thought, I'm in favor of that. And that's just because of how my cell phone drops my service consistently out there by the golf course. So a couple quick questions. Is this a cell service that all the different providers can tap into? Or is it just a specific provider?
Because the reason why some cell towers are proposed to be 100 feet is so that more providers can get on. But I believe there will be multiple providers for this.
Yeah, so in this proposal, Verizon will be that top level of antennas, and that second level will be open for other carriers if they're interested in placing their equipment on there.
Got it. All right. Is there anything, any side effects to, I've heard rumors of, you hear jokes about, oh, that kid lived under a power line, but is there any side effects that come with a cell phone tower like this to people in a certain vicinity?
Well, I'll go ahead and answer
Go
that.
ahead, please.
We actually are, that's not actually something we're even allowed to discuss by state law.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I can't even, we are not in that profession. That's not our training. By state law, we're not allowed to make that in a discussion.
I'm a newbie.
that.
Thank you. No worries. No worries. That's okay. How long do these towers last? Is it just until the technology runs out, or do you have a specific knowledge of it'll wear out in X many years?
Yeah, you want to answer that one?
So we are not in the business of taking towers down. What we do is we end up modifying the towers to work with the new technology. There's so much money that goes into getting the tower erected in the first place that we want to make sure that we're using all the infrastructure that we can before we go look at building something else.
That makes sense.
So, but typically a lease is for 25 years, and then we renew the lease for an additional 25.
Great. My other question was answered, so thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Mangum. Commissioner Wilden, you were patiently waiting were your questions answered, or would you like to?
They were answered.
Okay,
I'm ready to make a motion.
okay, awesome. Awesome, thank you for the reminder. Commissioner Mann, you might as well get on this. I mean, these are questions you never thought you'd be asking, right? Just joking. You don't have to. You have any questions?
I'm happy to. No, I agree with Commissioner Mangum. As a real estate professional who frequents that area and sells homes in the Fox Hollow community, it is that stretch of road, and I'm a Verizon customer, so that stretch of road, I have to plan my phone calls. There's no way that I'm going to contact a client or anyone else prior to about the golf course. So I think it would be fabulous as long as it's in line with all of our city code and works for our community members.
Thanks, Commissioner Mann. And Commissioner Mangum, I think it took me like 6, 7, maybe 15 meetings before I made a comment, so well done on both of you, your parts. Thanks again to the applicant and staff for the presentation this evening. I guess my question, my thought process is along the similar lines, I think, of some of the questions that have been asked in terms of what's the magic number, right, with this. We are in community commercial, and we determined that 50 feet was the appropriate level. Now we're told that we need 60 feet for cell towers, and then 2 years from now, someone's going to come tell me and say, well, now we really need 70 feet. And so we kind of keep having to revisit things. And I don't know if there's a way for us to avoid that, and that would be my preference in thinking through this, just to avoid whatever arbitrary number we think we need. And I don't know what the 10, again, you're answering more questions you probably ever wanted to around cell phone technology this evening, but what's the magic difference between the 10 feet and the tower height? That's a question I don't know, but apparently it's important to you in the industry and I'm guessing it's because it means better coverage. I mean, just logically thinking through that. And so that I understand that, but then when we come back, 6 months from now, 2 years from now and say, well, we really need 70 feet or 80 feet. I think we just have to keep in mind, along Commissioner Sprosty-Burns' comments, of what is it that we finally settle on and when. So I'm not necessarily opposed to making a change here this evening, but at some point, we've just got to think strategically and logically through what that height is. So with that comment, again, appreciative of staff, appreciative of the applicant this evening. This is a public hearing. Would any other members of the public like to make a comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and close public comment. And I would be happy to entertain a motion. Commissioner Hill.
I'll have Doug do it. I think he started.
Oh, you bet. Is this on? Yeah, I'd like to make a motion based on the evidence and explanations received today. I move to recommend approval of the proposed major amendment to the Crossing Community Plan with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilden. We have a second from Commissioner, was that Hill? Thank you, Commissioner Hill. How do I turn everybody on? This is the learning curve that I'm on now that I didn't know I was going to be on today. Do I have to tap all of them individually? That's a lot of work. All right, here we go. I'm just joking, by the way. Did you have a discussion on the motion, Commissioner?
Yeah, I had a question. So I think I already asked this, and then, sorry, you answered, but when I look in the staff packet, it says that the request is allowing a cell tower to be 60 feet in height. So did you say, because I don't see a condition that says 66 feet.
We should change that to 66 feet.
Okay. So it has been changed, or do we need to amend the?
Sorry, you would want to put that in your,
Findings. Okay.
So we'll hit the rewind button. Commissioner Wilden, do you want to add an additional condition to your motion?
Yes, so what are the words I need to use there?
that you're approving a height up to 66 feet.
Yeah, that we're approving a height up to 66 feet.
Okay, so we have the motion with the condition of up to 66 feet. Commissioner Hill, you're still good with your second? You're still good with your second, Commissioner
I
Hill?
am, yes.
Okay, so we have the motion and a second with the additional condition that it'd be up to 66 feet. I'll go ahead and ask for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
Aye.
Oh,
Nay, sorry.
we have in favor Commissioner Wilden, Commissioner Mann, Commissioner Ryan, Commissioner Kilgore, Commissioner Mangum, and Hill, and opposed Commissioner Sprosty Burns. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the second item on this evening's agenda under public hearings, amendments to Title 19 Land Development Code of the City of Saratoga Springs, Chapters 1905, Supplementary Regulation Bars. And Tippy, looks like you were presenting on this.
Yes, so for you new commissioners, my name is Tippy Moreland. I'm one of the senior planners at the city. I'm also the city's long-range planner. So this code amendment is, the applicant's actually Tim Ryan from Bout Time, and he's here today if you have any questions for him. And this was kind of a combination of staff and Bout Time trying to figure this out. This is the first time we've actually used this code since we wrote it, and we wrote it anticipating that businesses like Bout Time would be coming into the city, and then we need to have certain regulations if we wanted to allow them. But in practice, which happens a lot of times when you write new code, we figured out that some parts of the code were actually a little more vague and ambiguous than we had anticipated. So for instance, on the right-hand side, this is the property, do I have a picture? Okay. This is the property on the north that was originally approved for About Time. That was a part of a multi-tenant building. And with the bottleneck and the sewer backlog and everything, they were moved to an existing lot so that they could proceed with the site plan and continue construction currently. So it's in the exact same location, north to south. They just shifted the building south, but with the way that the language is written, because it's now on a single lot as a standalone building, the measurements don't quite add up, even though it's exactly the same distance from the multifamily development to the east as it was before. And then even looking at the language that we approved with the multi-tenant building, the code doesn't even say multi-tenant technically, it just says a lot with additional buildings. So we didn't even interpret that part of the code correctly. So we're just trying to clean up this language and make it more equitable from site to site and a little easier to implement. So we recommended two options. Staff prefers option one, but either option would work. And we worked with Fred before he left the city, and we worked with Kevin on this. The first option that we had was going from building to building. We'd leave the 600-foot distance intact from a bar to a residential building, but we'd just go from wall to wall from that unit in a multi-tenant building or the standalone structure of a bar to a residentially zoned residential building. So structure to structure. Option two is going from property line to property line, regardless of multi-tenant or not. But because of the variety of lots that we see and the distances that may vary, like If the building on the new lot, you see it's in the upper right-hand corner of the lot, if it shifted to the west, it wouldn't matter because, even though it's 100 feet further from the structure, the property line is where it's at. So because of those variety of lots that we see in our commercial development, we suggested reducing that distance to 500 feet. So either of these would be good for the About Time lot, but we're also thinking of potential future properties. So I'd like to turn this time over to the commission to discuss the options. We would like you to make a recommendation if you prefer one or two, or if you want to leave it up to the council, you can state that as well. We're just looking for a recommendation for the council on this code amendment. Thanks.
I wanted to add just a little bit more on staff's preference for option A, because that's measuring building to building. What we find in commercial developments is a whole variety of subdividing. So you could have a commercial development where the lot is strictly on the border and all the buildings are part of one lot, or you could find a commercial development where they have an individual lot for each building. And that was why we wrote two options. If it goes property line to property line, and you get a development that's all commercial that maybe has 10 buildings within one lot, then that property line is on the edge. So that was the staff's preference for option A, is that you're measuring from building to building rather than property line to property line.
Thank you for the additional insight. Appreciate that. And thanks, Tippy, for the background as well. Is the applicant here this evening? You mentioned applicants
Yes,
here.
yes.
Would you like to come forward and add anything to the presentation this evening? Mr. Ryan, is that one of you? Great last name, by the way.
This mic is on here. Yeah.
If you don't mind just stating your name and your address for the record.
Sure. Tim Ryan, owner of About Time Pub and Grub. I live up in Salt Lake, 3687 East Cove Point Drive. So for our purposes, this is a necessary update to the code to allow us to continue our project down here. But it also seems quite reasonable, as Tippy pointed out. In this case, we're no closer or farther than what was approved before. It's just the ambiguity, I guess you could say, in what was previously written. If we had this design and then we're building a storage shed on the other side of the property, it would fit. It probably wouldn't look as nice, to have a storage shed, but I think it would meet the code. And again, we're moved to this parcel because of circumstance with the development of the north part. But from a practical standpoint, our business won't be any closer to the residences than it would have been, and certainly in excess of the 600 feet, practically speaking, from the building to the building. I'm happy to field any questions about the business or operation that you have.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. This is a matter of public hearing as well. Are there any members of the public that would like to make comment at this time? All right, hearing none, I'm happy to turn that over to the commissioners for questions and comments. Commissioner Sprosty Burns.
Yes, this is for city staff. Obviously, you're not going to have this answer like right off the top of your head, but are most of our code, is it written building to building or property line to property line?
I think it varies depending on the use. Like with car washes, it's car washes is property line to property line, right, Sarah?
Oh, I couldn't tell you off the top.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it just depends on the use. So in Title 1905, 16, it has the list of all the specific uses. So each one has an individual set of standards that we developed with commission, council, and staff back when we had gotten rid of our conditional uses. So we wanted to implement instead actual standards for these uses. So we didn't see the same conditions on the same type over and over again. But I think with that, when we undertook that code amendment, we tended to look at like neighboring cities and what had been done in the past, and it just varied from use to use.
Okay, so it wouldn't be abnormal, either option wouldn't be abnormal in the code?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then I just had a follow-up question on this 9-B. This shall be located no less than a half mile from cars, measured in the same manner to a residential zone. With this plan of having a like city center kind of zone going in, I would just maybe throw out a suggestion that we might want to change that if we want to have a thriving city center. Otherwise, nobody wants to walk a half mile from one bar to another, just saying it.
Thank you.
Yeah, yes, sorry, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Commissioner Spasi Burns. Commissioner Kilgore.
Just wanted to point out on the option 1, I can't read it. It says, or the nearest point of a unit if in a multi-tenant building, the tenant, I think, is with one N.
Oh, yes.
Or two
Yes.
N's instead of 3.
One N, I think,
Yeah, it's 3 N's.
yeah, and there's no dash.
so-
So I had edited, I think this was a previous version.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
sorry.
All right. Well, if it's going to go into the code, I just thought, in case.
We'll update that. Thank you.
Yeah. And then what if the tenant, or what if the bar or the building has like a outdoor seating or, a patio or something? Would that be considered part of the building, or would that be considered not part of the building?
If it's in a multi-tenant building, that would be within the unit's property lines, or what belongs to the unit. If it has outdoor seating, I think we would consider that, well, how is it written? Hold on. Nearest point
They
of a
don't
unit.
have any proposed, but that's not addressed in what's drafted.
Yeah, it's not a building, so we would go from the building, not the patio, just with the way that it's drafted. The code defines building pretty specifically.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the reason why is I'm trying to then understand what the whole purpose is. If the idea is to have a certain amount of separation from residential, but you have outdoor seating where it could be a whole another, outdoor room with all the noise and everything else, in this state, we care about, I guess, kids looking at people drinking and stuff or being served and stuff. And so if that's the case, then does that help the purpose or not help the purpose if we didn't define it from where the service is actually, where the business is actually being conducted?
For this structure, I don't think it would make a difference where the building is oriented to the corner, the entire corner of the lot.
There might be state laws on outdoor I don't know. That's a good point. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah,
I think patios do tend to have roof coverings though, and if they do, that would be considered, if it's attached, we sorry, this keeps going out. We consider that part of the building.
Yeah, I like it. I like the idea of outdoor seating and such, and a lot of times they do have awnings, but they're not necessarily like a lot of the older establishments, in other cities. I noticed that some of them are kind of ad hoc, where they attached an awning to a building that it didn't used to have that, or they would use a part of the property that wasn't actually originally built for service, but then, hey, there's room, let's, and in the summer, people want to be outside, and so it may not necessarily be considered, part of the building originally, and then but it's part of the service or part of the business later on. And again, I'm all for it, but if the idea of this ordinance is to have some separation, a specific separation from residential areas or those areas, then I wonder again if there's going to be, if there won't be more, if there won't be some ambiguity in that part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder if we defined it as a structure. I know we include decks and patios as a structure. So maybe we could make that amendment. I can run that by our legal department if that's your recommendation.
Yeah, well, it's just I don't want I don't want businesses to feel like they can't expand where it's their right to expand because it's their property and such, because they're violating now a part of the code because it was originally determined building as opposed to the structure, and I want them to be able to adapt their business as needed as the demand is. And so, but I don't want that to be all of a sudden it's a violation of something,
right.
And they can't do it. So that's why I just kind of want to make sure that we have that clarity so that when the approval goes in, it's available to them as well, without violating the intent of the whole ordinance in the first place. So anyway, that was my comment there. I'm not sure what we do with that.
Oh,
yeah.
I was Googling while you were discussing. So state code requires that a bar establishment add the outdoor patio to the floor plan, and so state code would count that. But our code is different, right? So we could just add that we also include outdoor patios in that distance.
Yeah, I think, that, again, that would, in the interest of eliminating ambiguity, which is what this is for, then maybe that might be a good idea. I don't know if that's been your experience or if that actually restrains you in any way.
No, not at all. You're spot on with the premises under 32B in the state liquor code. The patio would become a part of the premise and then subject to the state proximity regulation, which is 200 feet straight line from door to property boundary, door of the establishment to property boundary. So the city code currently is well in excess of that. And then also 600 feet, a walking distance. So out the door, down the sidewalk, down to the corner and back up the sidewalk, and also, in excess there.
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you. And then one last question. So, we have two options here. The city prefers option A. I'm okay with whichever. In your experience with other cities, have you seen any specificity there or any trend?
No, generally speaking, I don't think until this experience that I've really seen proximity, be an issue. But I think it's okay to have it as such, but I haven't run into it, and I've developed 15 locations in Utah and Colorado, so it's normally not a thing. This is very detailed, here, but.
Okay. Okay. So when we do the motion, do we need to do a condition or do we need to make any changes as far as this is concerned?
No, I have it written in here, approval of a specific option, or you can say either if you don't have a preference as a commission, but it should be written in like this.
If you do want to recommend including patios, you would add
patios,
that as a
sorry.
condition.
Then add that as a condition, okay.
You're okay.
All right, let's finish with Commissioner.
I think, yeah, I think you're going to say that the state already covers it, but you're saying that that doesn't necessarily apply here?
Well, so the state has a 200-foot distance or 250 something, so ours is more. So I think it helps to add clarity to add it.
Okay. All right, thank you, that's it for me.
Thank you, Commissioner Kilgore. Commissioner Hill, thanks for your patience. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for your questions. They were very thoughtful and added a lot to the discussion. I know this discussion is about code, and it just happens to fall within, what you're trying to do. The one thing that I wanted to share is that I've been very pleasantly surprised at how the city is willing to take a look at code and bring it up to standards that it needs to be brought up to. In our last legislative session, there were lots of changes, and I think, we were overburdened a little bit with changes, but I'm very, very thankful that we have a planning department that wants to stay on top of that. And then Tippy, as you said, you come here and in doing some of those changes, there's some ambiguity there, and we're willing to address that immediately so that we can move forward without making an undue process on our businesses and our residents. So I just applaud our planning department. I just love to be on top of it. We are a growing city, maybe one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Utah, and we've got to be nimble to be able to do the things we need to do. Lastly, as I read this presentation and understanding that staff would maybe be leaning towards option one, there are professionals, and they're the ones that have to kind of regulate this. So my thought would be option one would be following what the staff would want us to do. And so those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any other additional comments or questions from the commission? Otherwise, I would be happy to entertain a motion.
Ken, do you want to do it? You've got the part written down. I can do it if you don't want to. I just didn't write this.
If you already have it, because I'm looking for it.
Okay, I can do it. Okay, I'm going to make a motion based on the, I read the whole part, Okay. Based on the evidence and explanations received today, I move to recommend approval of option 1 of the proposed amendments to Title 19 with the findings and conditions in the staff report. The additional condition that that patios and outdoor seating areas are included
As part of the bill.
as part of the building.
Thank you, Commissioner Sprosty Burns. Well done. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second from Commissioner Kilgore. Any additional discussion on the matter? Hearing none, go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you for coming in tonight. We appreciate that, and thanks for bringing a business to the city as well. And thank you, Tippy, for presenting. We have a very anxious commissioner, Mr. Ryan, wanting to know when about time might be done.
Not soon enough.
Does that work, Commissioner Sprosty Burns?
It will be coming back to you for the site plan approval. So it'll come to you for site plan approval, and then it'll go to city council, and then they'll be able to get their building permit, and I don't know what their construction timeline is from there.
That's the right answer. That's a good answer. Commissioner Sprosty Burns is anxiously awaiting, so thank you. Thanks again for everyone involved with that item. We're going to go ahead and move to item number 3 on the public hearings. This is amendment to Title 19 Land Development Code of the City of Saratoga Springs, Chapter 1909, Off-Street Parking, Location of Parking Areas. Director Carroll, looks like you'll be presenting to us this evening on this item.
Great. The main focus here is allowing an exception for walkable communities. Right now, we have a certain distance that the parking stalls have to be to the main entrance. We needed to put that in place because we were getting proposals for them to be pretty far away. So this is a code that was added this year. And as we've looked at other codes and applying this, we've realized we need an exception when we're developing walkable communities and park on the edges. So there are circumstances where we don't want the parking within a certain distance of the front door. So this proposes an exception for specific to the mixed use, mixed waterfront, and then our downtown overlay. This is a public hearing.
Yeah, this is a, thank you, Director Carroll. This is a public hearing. Any members of the public would like to comment this evening? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and close public comment and open this up for questions or comments from the commission. Well, this is going to be a first if nobody says anything, so. Okay, looks like we got Commissioner Wilden. He's awake over there, so we're going to give Commissioner Wilden, thank you, go ahead.
I just want to say that it makes sense as I went through it. It's pretty clean and straightforward, and I appreciate all the work in making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilden. We'll go next to Commissioner Sprosty Burns.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to maybe publicly note my ADD meds have worn off, so I'm sorry tonight that it is. So also, in these kinds of settings, I frequent these settings quite frequently, and what I've noticed is there tends to be more break-ins in like the parking garages that are located a little further than where the shopping is and whatnot. And so I would just encourage the city to make sure that as this is going forward, those walking paths and those areas where we're moving people from where everyone's at to dark lit parking garages, that those are like just really safely lit, and we have that safety of our citizens in mind with those areas.
Thank you, Commissioner Sprosty Burns. Any other additional comments from the commission? Okay, hearing none, I'd be happy to entertain a motion.
I move the,
Oh, you want to?
okay. I move that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation for approval of the proposed code amendment to Title 19, Chapter 19.09, with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
Awesome. Thank you, Commissioner Kilgore. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion on the matter? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Director Carroll.
And before we start number 4, we are actually going to request that we table this one. We got some comments after your packet went out, and we would like to make some additional changes before you review it.
That is item number 4.
Yes.
Okay, so I'd be happy to take a motion to table item number 4 from this evening's agenda. Let me get my microphone finger going. There we go. All right.
Oh, we may have to open public comment and then.
Oh, that's
table.
correct. Yep. So before we do that, we'll open this up for public comment since it was posted this evening. Does any members of the public like to comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close. All right, and then now I would be happy to take a motion to table item number 4 for a future meeting.
So I just see the option for continuance. I mean, I can use that one, right?
Yes, that's just fine.
Okay, so I move to continue the amendments to Title 19 to a future date for Planning Commission meeting with the following direction on additional information, just stuff when you come forward with that. I did that terribly.
It's great.
Thank you, Commissioner Sprosty Burns. There's no shame in the game. That was a great motion. Great job. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilden. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any additional discussion on this matter? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We're now on to our business item for this evening, which is approval of previous meeting minutes. Anyone have any comments on the minutes? Otherwise, I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve minutes.
Oh, you're the one I missed. Look at that. All right, Commissioner Hill, we have a motion from Commissioner Hill to approve the meeting minutes from December 14th, 2023. Do we have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Commissioner Kilgore. We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion on the matter? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, we're on to our reports for this evening. Commissioner comments. Anyone like to share any comments this evening? Commissioner Harrell, please.
I know we've welcomed our 2 new commissioners, but again, welcome. And feel free just to reach out to any of us if you have questions or just want to talk a few things through. We're just a group of individuals that really are caring about our community. And, you know, the staff does the heavy lifting, but we do the heavy lifting to take it to city council. So just welcome. It's good to have individuals that are as passionate about what we're doing as you two are.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Hill and Commissioner Wilden, for an unofficial motion. That's excellent. Commissioner Mangum.
I just want to say thank you to Commissioner Hill for that welcome. And along those lines, I just want to quickly ask if there's an amendment or a proposal or something that's just completely confusing. Can I abstain if I just don't understand it
Yep.
yet as a newbie? Okay.
You can also
Ask a lot of questions.
and you can ask staff for more questions.
Beforehand. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, great point. And really, you're going to learn quickly, especially now somehow that I got nominated here to be the chair, that we're a bunch of amateurs and we just try to figure this out. And we ask a lot of questions, as you probably observed this evening. And we all want, what's awesome about this is we all want what's best for the city. And you have a great cross-section of individuals up here that really think hard about these things that come before us and ask questions. And that there's any question you would like to ask, we try to do our best to entertain those and allow you space and time. Staff doesn't like to hear that because they want to go home, but otherwise, no, you guys are awesome. All right, thank you, Commissioner Mangum. Anything else? All right, I'd just like to make a comment as well. I wasn't at the last meeting, wasn't able to say goodbye to Commissioner Cunningham. He's probably missing us, and so he may be the one person that ever watches the YouTube, but I just want to say thank you to Commissioner Cunningham out loud. I thought he did a great job as the chair. Appreciated learning from his chairmanship, and yeah, he will be missed. He was one of those folks that really was dedicated and took a lot of time with this. So those are big shoes to fill. I hope to be able to do that, and I appreciate the support from the commission. We are on to Director's Report. Director Carroll, do you have anything you'd like to share with us this evening?
I do. I have just a few things. And you did a fantastic job welcoming our new commissioners. I do want to let you know that we did interview Commissioner Mann 6 months ago, and so luckily she was still willing to serve when we had an opening for her. And then background in real estate, and then Commissioner Mangum has a background in banking. I don't actually remember everybody's, professional backgrounds. Sorry, I probably wasn't director when you got selected, so but I think we have a great group of people. It's amazing when people are willing to volunteer their time and come and participate in city decision making, and I just think you're all fantastic people for being willing to do that. So Commissioner Cunningham, he served 8 years, and we have a 2-term maximum, and that's the only reason he's not here. He was fantastic. One of those bittersweet moments to see him go, especially where he has so much passion for being here. We will be, and then Audrey Barton got elected, right? So she just moved to city council. And we will be presenting a plaque that just recognizes them for their service at the upcoming city council meeting on, what's the date? Sorry, the next one. The date's just not coming to mind, but I have it on my screen here. So, and then the 16th. So this coming Tuesday, we'll present a plaque and recognize them for their service that they've that they gave to the city as commissioners. And then our next meeting will be January 25th. We have a few items queued up, and hopefully this code amendment that got continued tonight, if that one's ready, then we'll bring that. We potentially have a preliminary plat and site plan combination, and then some more code amendments, and potentially another site plan. So possibly 3 or 4 items at your next meeting. Sorry, somebody is celebrating their birthday today. I just want to mention that Commissioner Kilgore is spending his time here on his birthday at the commission.
Happy birthday. Here you go. We got that for you.
Thank you.
And a couple of you did get treats, that the ones of you that missed the December meeting. That was just a holiday thank you. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Director Carroll. And I, again, stumble here in the first role with this, but Commissioner Barton was awesome as well. And it's awesome that she's on the city council now and will represent and serve our city well. It's kind of neat to see her be able to do that. So we will miss her as well, and welcome Commissioner Mangum, Commissioner Mann. Thank you both for being here. Hopefully we don't scare you off too soon. And being the great new chair that I am, I will be gone on January 25th.
It'll be
So Commissioner Kilgore, there might be a few times where if you would be willing to step into the chair role, as I'll be absent. Especially, I'll be in Orlando on the 25th, so getting some Disney action in.
Great.
For better or for worse. Okay, do we have a need to enter into a closed session this evening?
We do not.
Okay. We will adjourn then, and our next meeting will be January 25th. Thank you all for coming this evening. Do I really have to bang this thing? I don't have to do that, do I?
I don't know.
Roy really got after it, and I don't know if I really want to do that.
Come on, let's just
Tradition, there we go. All right. Oh, it's mine?
Yeah, they gave us last time.
Okay.
You stop the recording.